Complete either A, hope, or B, attention seeking from John Jones. Alright, welcome back to another video over here on SCS Combat, and today, or last night should I say, we just got the White House card announced. I'm going to go through it today, talk about what I think of the matchups that we did end up getting, who I thought maybe could have fell through, and we're going to look at a couple of responses to the card as well. Fighters like Conor McGregor, John Jones, not happy that they're not on there. We're going to get into it today. So starting off, I suppose, we got the card last night on the broadcast of UFC 326. Oliver beat Max Holloway for the BMF title. You can check my video on that out as well, my full recap for that. But I think it was 2 fights into the broadcast, we finally got the fights, and here they are. I'll put the poster in. So the first fight on the card, the main event, Ilia Topuria takes on Justin Gaethje for the lightweight world title. As we know, Topuria is the full champion, Gaethje's the interim champion. Unification had to happen, and it was pretty inevitable that might be the main event. Gaethje's the only American fighter in title contention really, apart from O'Malley. Then you have Vera vs Gan in the co-main event, which is for the interim heavyweight title. That's a really good fight, and I'm glad to see they did not strip Tom Aspinall, because that would actually just be it is not good that Cyril Gane gets another title shot after cheating and eye poking. Cyril Gane literally eye poked the champ so bad that he's had to have eye surgeries and is going to be out for the foreseeable future, because we still don't know when he'll be back, and they've given him another title shot, so he may as well keep eye poking people. He probably eye poked Pereira and then get chinned 2 seconds later, but it's a story for another day. Before that, we have O'Malley against the Happy. That's a good fight. Good matchup between 2 solid contenders in the weight class. I feel like O'Malley's probably going to get that one, but in terms of star power, you can kind of see the names here as you go down the card. The A side, pretty big name, and they're in a kind of a favourable matchup maybe. But for that, we have Rufy against Chandler. Obviously, Rufy is coming off the back of a pretty good knockout win. Chandler is coming off the back of a pretty tough loss against Paddy Pimblett, I believe. So that's a good fight there. Another solid matchup for Chandler to probably lose, but I'm sure Chandler's happy no matter. You could have given Chandler and Garner, you would have fought in that card, because it's the White House card. We all know the type of fighter Michael Chandler is. The most entertaining lightweight on the planet, allegedly. And then before that, we have the Miracle Man himself, Dana White's favourite fighter, Donald Trump's favourite fighter, by the looks of it, Bo Nickel, as he ends up on another huge card. Just miraculously ends up on another huge card. Like, this guy was on UFC 300's main card as well, by the way. Like, whenever it comes to his placement that he gets on for cards, it's actually like peak for him. Like, I don't know, he must actually like be confused every time he sees it. But anyways, he's on there against Kyle Dawkins, who's been pretty entertaining on Twitter. He posted a clip of like, the guys get drafted. He's kind of playing into it a bit. That is the one fight that probably should be on here in terms of levels. I mean, neither of them's ranked, and they are above the next fight, which is Lopez against Steve Garcia. Diego Lopez, as we know, second best fighter in that featherweight division, arguably the one that's fought multiple times. Garcia, if you haven't seen him and you're coming along to watch this card, you will appreciate him. He's a really good fighter and quite good boxing skills. So yeah, that's the full card. Now, in terms of what I think should have been done different here, could have been done different here, obviously preferably we would have had the main event as Pereira against Aspinall if Gane didn't poke Tom's eyes out. But the main event's good. I like the main event. Obviously, if it was Makachev, that would have been like the super fight. But I feel like we're going to get on to a fighter who said this as well. I feel like then we're going to put the super fights on here fully, because they sell themselves and the UFC like to make money on other cards. This card could have been main evented by the most random fighters ever. Probably would have still sold, because the UFC's at the White House, you know what I mean? But as far as the main and the co-main goes, they're as good as you can get. The 2 biggest stars in the sport, if we're going to be honest here, are Topuria and Pereira. And then another top 5 star in the sport really with O'Malley. Another really big name with Rufy, because he's one of the fighting nerds, or was one of the fighting nerds, and built a big name off that. Bo Nickel's Bo Nickel. Like, he does have a pretty decent name to prefer to him. And Diego Lopez, I mean, but one of the most like fan favorite fighters, should I say? Yeah. So in terms of like, you could have done Lopez against Sterling. I've heard that mentioned quite a lot, and I do like that fight. Diego Garcia will be a really good fight with Lopez, but I really feel like we could have done Sterling there. Bo Nickel and Dawkins should be took off the card. I don't know what you do in replacement to that, but you got to do something. Like, they're the only unranked fighters on here. There's not the greatest fight ever. Bo Nickel, however, gets his white privilege. That's what Tony called it. Or Rufy against Chandler. That's a pretty solid fight. To be fair, you could have maybe done Rufy against, no, like, not many. Maybe Chandler, but then at the same time, the stuff that Chandler's been put there, I don't mind that fight. Trying to get his big wound, I suppose. Probably the greatest news of his life here in this. Will be pretty big, I suppose, if you're an American and they're like, you're fighting at the White House. O'Malley versus Sahabi. Pretty obvious that should have been O'Malley Sandhagen. Sandhagen even posted on a story about it. O'Malley Sandhagen would have been the best fight there. We don't get it. We get Sahabi instead. Probably a good fight. Sean O'Malley will still win pretty clear. But yeah, overall, that's the full card. Now, on a quick couple of notes here to finish the video, we do have some controversy or some backlash from certain fighters. So as we all know, Ariel Helwani and John Jones were both saying that John Jones was in the talkings for this card, was in the running to be on this card in negotiations, and he is not happy. Dana White came out last night and said John Jones was never supposed to be on the card, and he told everyone why, and he told everyone in the first place why, and then on top of it, as we all found out recently as well, John Jones has arthritis in his hip. They really can't do much. But we see here a tweeting spree from John Jones, which he says, and then the other half of me is like, what is it really though? Lying in my bed, wrapping my head around this perception, all I can think is how painful. Man, how painful. So all of this negotiating was complete bullshit. You know, I'll put the thing on screen. Shout out to Championship Rounds for the recollection of it. Is this what you want me to agree publicly? Make this make sense. Sure, I'll be the fall guy, or would I be the bigger man for remaining silent? If I would prove him wrong, would I be wrong? Let's go. I'm released from the UFC ? So complete either A, hope, or B, attention seeking from John Jones, who loves attention. Always has to be involved some way, somehow. Even when Aspinall fought Gan, he always has to keep talking, but he's too afraid to get in there himself. Let's be honest here. He wouldn't have fought Aspinall, probably wouldn't have fought Pereira, probably wouldn't have fought Ngannou, because he's too afraid. I said last night in the stream, there's that clip of him on the podcast saying when they were talking about the Ngannou fight happening, all he was saying was, well, yeah, when you really think about it, you just had to get comfortable with that one possibility that he might just knock me out cold. Do you really think John Jones would have ever got comfortable with that? Of course he wouldn't have. He's never lost properly. He's never been beat on paper, because obviously the rest fights and stuff, and he has that disqualification loss, but I mean like a proper like knockout, submission, or 5-0 decision loss. John Jones has never had one of those on his record. But this is just attention seeking, let's be honest here. Of course you weren't in talks. Why would you be in talks? You're going to pull out, you're going to do something stupid. But yes, my thoughts on that. And then who's on a brighter note, well, on a less attention seeking note, Conor McGregor come out in an interview recently talking about all this as well. See here that he felt like he was originally supposed to fight Chandler at the White House, but the UFC kept changing their mind and making different offers, and he's getting hints that he may end up fighting the winner of the BMF title fight last night, which was Oliveira. I don't know if they'll go with that now. We had the Smashcast media show, by the way, and their interview with McGregor, shout out to them. Then he says the UFC avoids putting him on big cards, and this is true. Of course the UFC, he says, McGregor says here, they usually don't put me on 200 or 300 or at the Sphere. They usually put me on 201 or 301. You know, it's like a double seal. The White House card's gonna hit no matter what. Who cares who we put on it? And then William McGregor out for the second one, so we double our economic take as businessman McGregor. It gives us take on that one, but it's true. That's what I was saying earlier on. The White House card's gonna hit no matter, it's gonna sell no matter who's on it. They'd put McGregor on it and lose money on a different event. Obviously doesn't make sense to the UFC, and that's what they've done. I wasn't really as surprised to not see McGregor on there, but we have heard rumors that he will fight International Fight Week, so we'll see what happens with him. Dana White said yesterday, or they're not even close getting a return date with McGregor, but they are at least talking to him, which was a good start. But McGregor is very, very eager to come back, and he says, even if they offer me a no name, they think it's going to be a tough fight. No problem, sign the contract. Yes, yes, yes. In his enthusiasm, he said that one as well. Like, he's like been out for quite a while now, and we all know the story. He broke his leg last time out against Poirier. Even when he's doing this interview, he's in the gym, so you kind of think maybe he does actually want this and want to come back and get that title fight, so make his last run. Whether that lasts long or not, I think he wants one more go at it, and I think they should give him it as well. Why would they not? The biggest star in the sport, whether you like it or not, he still is, probably. It is crazy though, McGregor's on an interview like begging for a fight, because he's the biggest star they have. Like, how is he the one being like, yo, put me in a fight please? Like, they gotta sort this stuff out. I can understand why fans are frustrated with the card we ended up getting, because Dana White did talk about it, especially if you were casual and not really listening in. Dana White did talk about this at the start, like it was going to be the greatest card we'd ever laid eyes on. Definitely not. It's a pretty solid card in terms of big stars on it. Just maybe not the fights that we thought we would get. Nick Diaz had a couple of thoughts, as he said, don't ever try to be like me. He said, if I were you, I'd learn how to fight. To Oliveira, of course. Then before that, he said, P.S. don't try to be me. Oliveira, Holloway, Poirier, McGregor with 2 G's, and pimples. None of y'all. I mean, Nate Diaz being Nate Diaz there, but yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think down below of the card. What matchups would you put on there? And yeah, let's go. Who do you have in the title fights as well? Any upsets in there? Let me know down below. Like, subscribe, follow for more. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Get it all around the screen, all the tags. Follow me. Thanks for watching.